Right, the next thing is strings. So a string is basically a sequence of characters. Those characters can be letters or even numbers. Um, so the way we did the console.log hello world here, that hello world is a string. So we can also declare that as a separate variable. Let's just call it s, and then assign it to, let's just say hello. And then we can just console.log s, print out that string, refresh the page. So the string is printed out here. There's something we can do with strings here, which is really going to be useful in our calculator. Something called concatenating strings. What does concatenating strings mean? Well, it means like bring two strings and then stick them together to make a new string. So let me just explain that with the code. If we actually go console.log and then we output the string itself, dot concat, short for concatenate. Don't try to write concatenate because it won't work. So s.concat, and then in parentheses you put the other string that you want to stick it to the string that you have here. Let me just write down world, hello world, and save that. Refresh the page. And there you have it, hello world. If you notice here that we didn't have a space in here, nor in here, there was no spaces, so the two words were stick together. If we just had a space in there, save it, refresh, and there you have it, hello world with a space in it. So make sure you understand that concatenate thing. It's really useful, and we're going to need it in the UCAS calculator project. Right, things are going to get harder a bit. They're going to get harder a bit. So just pay extra attention right now. We're going to talk about loops. So loops are really useful because they save you from writing like tens of lines of code that are really similar to each other. They're just like, there's only one variable different, or one I don't know, integer or string different, and then you just copy and paste the whole code. No, you don't need to. You don't need to do that. Just do a loop, and it will just execute the number of times that you want. The way we do a loop in JavaScript is you write for. So we're going to be talking about for loops. There's other types of loops that we won't be going over right now because we don't need them. So a for loop, and then with the parentheses you write you just call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it I equals 1 semicolon, I is less than or equal to I don't know, 5. That will be 18 later on when we do the project, because there will be 18 different units. For now, let's just do 5, and then I plus plus. The I plus plus means just increment by 1, increment that I by 1, every time you loop through the loop, every time you iterate over the loop. So when we start the code here, I will start with 1, and then whatever's in the curly brackets, there will be a curly bracket here. Whatever code is in here will execute. It will finish executing, and then it will go back here, and then it will increment I by 1, and then I will be 2, and then it will be like, well, is 2 less than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So it will execute the code again and again and again, up to 5. When I reaches 5, is 5 less than or equal to 5? Well, yes, it is equal to 5. And then it will execute the code one last time, and it will exit out of that loop. Let me just put an example here inside that loop, just to let's just do console.log, and we will write down JavaScript is fun. Another message, console.log. Again, we're printing out a new message. I don't know, hello world again. Save that. Refresh the page. And there you have it. JavaScript is fun, hello world, and those two messages are printed out 5 different times. So what else can we do with this for loop? Let me just try to print out I itself. So this I here, I equals 1. Let's just print out that. Save, refresh, and unsurprisingly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those are the values of this variable I after iterating over the loop 5 different times. Right. The next thing I want to talk about is something called a dictionary. A dictionary in programming languages. Dictionaries are really useful in programming languages. So basically, the way dictionaries work is that they're similar to lists and arrays. The only difference is that in lists you have a collection of elements, whereas in dictionaries you have a collection of elements in which each element has a value. So those elements we call keys, and each key has a value. And the best way to explain that is to write the code. Again, we're declaring a new variable. So we use the word var for variable. Let's just call it, I don't know, dict. And make it equal to. So when we do curly brackets, that's showing JavaScript that we are about to declare a dictionary. And you put the key, a colon, and then the value of that key. So just for simplicity, I'm just calling those keys and values key and value. You can call them whatever you, let's just call it K. And then again, colon, and let's just call this val, colon again. You can even put numbers in your, let's just call it key 2. Even the value itself, it doesn't have to be a string, it could just be a number like that. And the same thing with the keys as well. You can just put a key as a number. It doesn't have to be a string. So you can put 6 as a key, and then the value is just, I don't know, 77. Now let's try to print that out. So again, console.log, and in that we just put the dictionary that we just defined here. Save that, refresh the page, and there you have it. We just called it object, and then it doesn't put them in the right order that we put them. It doesn't really take care of the order, so that doesn't really matter. There you have it: key, value, value, key, value, and so on.